Hi, I'm PsychoSorcerer, and last week we went over how to perform spell casting, but we kind of brushed over the third step, action. Now, that third step is where you actually perform the ritual, and you would say, why would we brush over the part where you do the ritual, which is the bulk of the work? Well, because most spell books go over in detail how to perform rituals and what is specific to that type of magic and all of that, so most people who are having trouble with their spells don't need as much help in that area. But that said, if you're new to spell casting, it's worth going over. And one of the most important things to understand is that there's several steps in order to perform a ritual, several different states you want to get yourself into. One of the most important things is breathing. So I'll be devoting most of my time today on breathing and techniques for breathing. So without going into too much about a ritual in general, what do I do when preparing for a ritual? Well, we've already done step one, which is to choose something that we want to do, or something that we want to change, and to choose a ritual to perform. We've done step two, which is to emotionally feel invested that this thing is going to come to pass or is already happening. Then we go and we get ready for the ritual. The first thing I do is a breathing technique and perhaps a meditation, sometimes combined into one. The breathing technique is important for one very specific reason. It helps to get the conscious and subconscious mind in sync. Breathing, like a lot of our bodily functions, is controlled primarily by the subconscious mind. However, we can take control of it like that with the conscious mind. Most of the rest of our bodily functions don't work that way. So by spending a prolonged period controlling your own breath, you spend a prolonged period where your subconscious mind and conscious mind are in sync. It's also important to do a lot of visualization during this so that you don't let your mind wander. After I've finished with that, the next step I do is a visualization to make myself feel as if I'm in the center of the cosmos. At that point, I can command or make my demands outward without feeling like I have to call upon any other source. Once I've done that, I enter something called the trance state. We'll have another video on going into the trance state in the future, but just for a quick definition, it'll feel like a hazy sort of in-between. It'll make you feel as if you're dizzy, as if you're in a world between worlds, in a crossroads sort of state. Some people call it a rapture state. Some people, I've even heard, call it a theta gamma sync. It's basically reaching a certain brainwave setting that will allow you to take data directly from your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. Once I've entered that state, I'm ready to start the ritual. Setting up the ritual state is done, a ritual space is done in that state so that I actually feel like I'm setting everything up in a sort of magical way. And then I go through the ritual, both logically following the steps of the ritual and extremely emotionally putting everything I've got into it. By the end, I feel exhausted. The last words of any good ritual will be something like, let it be done, or so shall it be, or amen, or something to symbolize a final push of your energy outward. On that push out, I will no longer feel any energy within. I'll allow everything to flow out of me toward whatever the source is, and out into the universe or directed into a certain point depending on what I'm trying to do. I will then collapse to my knees if I'm in a safe place to do so and just be for a few moments. Once that's done, I'll clean up the space. While I'm doing so, I'll do my best not to concentrate on the ritual that just passed. I'll allow myself to already start the fourth step of concealment. When I've finished cleaning everything up, I'll go and try to ground myself as best as possible. Best way to ground yourself is to do something that would only normally be done here in the material world, like make yourself lunch, or go for a jog, or talk with a friend, but not about anything otherworldly. Just, keep everything very here and now, and do that for a while, and then go back about your daily routine. And if I really want to make sure that I don't slip back into metaphysical thinking, I will refrain from practicing magic for the rest of the day. After that, it's just waiting for the outcome to occur. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it. I think if you wanted to break it into steps, it's important to do a breathing exercise first, to do visualizations, to enter some trance states. If I didn't say it before, I also tend to do some banishing rituals before performing the actual ritual. I'll usually do this after entering the trance state. Banishing rituals are just there to clear the area of any other influential energies. We'll go into banishing rituals in another video as well. So, outside of the actual ritual itself, that's all there is to it. And the actual ritual, depending on what you want to do, is either going to be something you create, or it's going to be something you can find in your local magic book. So breathing. There's several kinds of breathing, and we're going to go over a few right now. First thing that's important to understand is something called vase breathing. So when we breathe, we only use about 1/7 of our lung capacity. We tend to breathe out of the top area of our lungs, just kind of letting all of the rest of it go to waste. This is because we think it's unattractive to have your stomach extended whenever you do a full breath. But if you're going to breathe properly, you need to do what's called vase breathing, which is breathing from the bottom up. So you're going to breathe in through the nose and try to fill your stomach area first and then up. So like that. Just breathe in through the nose, filling as full as possible from the bottom up. And then breathe back out through the nose. That's called vase breathing. Pretty simple. All the different forms of breathing are going to use vase breathing, so remember to do it that way. But there's a lot of different ways to perform breathing exercises. Now, none of these are better than others. I personally perform something called chakra breathing, which we'll go into last. But it's a version of 4-7-8 breath. And let's just go into the different types. So one of the easiest forms of breathing is called the four-fold breath. The four-fold breath is when you breathe in for a 4 count, you hold for a 4 count, and breathe out for a 4 count. So you would breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeat. During this, you're going to want to visualize within yourself energy flowing into your body and back out. If you're early and new to this, you may just want to focus on the breathing and the counting. But as you start to get used to this and it starts to become kind of repetitive, start focusing on visualizing energy pooling into your body when you breathe in, filling your body when you hold, and then flowing back out of your body whenever you breathe out. If you're trying to get rid of some kind of a sickness or disease, it sometimes helps to think of good energy coming in and bad energy coming out. But some people that doesn't work at all. It all depends on how much control over your own body you have with your mind. The second form of breathing is called circular breathing. In this form, you're going to visualize the energy swirling around inside of you like a vortex. During that, you're going to be doing a breathe in for a 4 count and a breathe out for a 4 count with no holding. So it's breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just spiraling energy as you do that. The third method is called the 4-7-8 breath. This is one of the ones I use. The 4-7-8 breath is to breathe in for a 4 count, hold for a 7 count, and then breathe out for an 8 count. So you're going to breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now during this, you're going to do the same visualization you were doing with the 4 folds breath. You're going to see energy coming in. You're going to see energy fill your body, and you're going to see energy pushing back out. It is possible to change this into something called chakra breathing, which is what I do, in that you will focus on your individual chakra points in the body, one at a time, and when you breathe in, you'll pull energy into the body. When you hold, you'll fill that chakra point with the energy, and when you breathe out, you'll release that energy from the chakra point. This is a method of opening chakra points. We haven't gone over chakra points on this channel yet, so I don't want to go into too much more detail on that, but if you're someone who already understands them, then you know what I'm talking about. You would go from the bottom up, spending as much time on each chakra as you feel you need to. For me, it's relatively quick. I spend 2 iterations of this on each of the chakras, so it would be 4 in, 7 hold, 8 out, 4 in, 7 hold, 8 out on each chakra on the way up. Once they're fully charged, I feel like I'm done with the breathing exercise personally, and I move on to the next step. 2 other forms of breathing are the breath of fire and the bellows breath. I'm not going to go into those here because I don't use them personally, so I don't have a lot to say on them, but they are worth looking into. I'll give a couple of sources that I've used for some of this information at the end of the video, and those books can be used to learn more about breathing and about breath. Another thing to say about breath before we end is that some people can use it for spell casting. As we've said, you can visualize energy coming into the body, filling the body, and then going out. This same method can be used to push emotion. You think about a certain kind of emotion or feeling coming into your body, filling and being charged by your own energy, and then push it out into someone else. I haven't used this myself to tell you whether this works or not, but I know it's used by a lot of people. It's something that can be done without anybody knowing you're doing it. A lot of people will tie it to an element, say fire, earth, air, water, based on what they believe that element represents emotionally. It's mostly important to understand that it's what it would emotionally mean to you that's going to come out through some exercise like that. And again, you feel free to try it if you're interested in that sort of thing, if you want to see if it works, but I personally haven't done that myself. So that'll do it for today. I'd really like to make another video on trance state, another video on banishings, and a video on chakras. I don't know if those will be the next videos that come out, but look forward to seeing those in the future. If you're interested in learning more about those things, there's a lot of books and references that you can look for that. I'll try to put some of those in the description below. Thanks. See you next time.